I realized that no one probably cares what I think about Star Wars. That's not really my lane. But this is the first Star Wars movie that's come out since I started this channel. And it's probably the last one for a while too, so I thought I'd talk about it and Star Wars in general too. Now I have to say that I'm definitely not a Star Wars fanboy, but I did grow up liking the original trilogy quite a bit. I was also 11 years old when episode 1 came out and liked that quite a lot as well at the time. However, by the time episode 3 came out I was already 17 and had kinda grown out of that. And in hindsight, my opinion about the prequels is that they're a bit messy and deeply flawed. With that being said though, when they started making new Star Wars movies, I was excited. Because I do like that universe, I think it's great and filled with basically unlimited potential. However, then the new movies started coming out and I found them to be okay at best. And so far to date, Solo is probably my favorite of the bunch, but I didn't mind The Last Jedi either. But I would be lying if I said I was invested in this trilogy, because I'm really not. But at the same time, since I've already seen the 2 previous installments, I might as well watch the conclusion too, right? Which brings me to this one, and the first thing that struck me was that it looks great. The visuals are top notch and I like them quite a bit, and the same goes for the score and the sound design. Actually, I'm lying, that wasn't the first thing I noticed. The first thing was the iconic text in the beginning. Which, as I said, is iconic, but at the same time I do think it's very clumsy. And I honestly don't think it serves much of a purpose at this point. Now that might be heresy to some of the more devoted fans out there. But put your feelings aside for a moment and really think about it. Does it actually make for a better movie? Aside from digging into those nostalgia feels, does it make for a more effective and enjoyable experience? I'd say it doesn't, and maybe moving forward it might be time to let that one go. Evolve and adapt and stop living in the past, because that's a big issue with this new trilogy. Aside from the visuals, it doesn't feel new and fresh, and this one in particular isn't an exception to that. It feels like it's just retreading old plot points and doing stuff we've all seen before, except with a new coat of paint. This just doesn't feel like it has any passion behind it or any soul to it. It feels like a corporate concoction, a mishmash of things that's supposed to please an existing audience. I mean, even the characters just feel empty and the movie doesn't even seem to care about them either. Because we follow them for 3 movies and then it just sort of leaves most of them hanging. There's no real satisfying conclusion given to any of them except for Rey. And even that one's questionable, because I honestly thought the very end was genuinely moronic. Like the writers treated the audience like a bunch of imbeciles, and it truly felt like a personal insult, a slap in the face. And the writers pulled some really dumb stuff before the end too, throwing all logic out the window. A prime example being the fact that apparently human beings don't need oxygen anymore. And you can just walk on the surface of spaceships out in space somehow, I guess. I mean, at least in The Last Jedi, it was an actual Jedi who survived out in space. For a moment. Which I guess brings me to the fact that the Force now has just become a catch-all for anything. If something needs to happen and the Force makes it convenient, the Force can now do that. And if an all-powerful Jedi or Sith needs to be in trouble for a moment, the Force is suddenly a lot less almighty. So yeah, I was less than impressed by the writing in this one. And I can't say I cared much about the characters or the story here. With that being said though, I didn't hate this, it was perfectly watchable. But that's the problem with the whole trilogy, it's just perfectly watchable. It's brain-dead entertainment that starts to fall apart the second you actually start thinking. And sure, the original trilogy has some logical inconsistencies, but they're minor issues compared to this mess. And there's also a tangible passion behind that this one completely lacks. And I really don't understand how we got here, because I still think the Star Wars universe is great. All you really need is a good story to make a great Star Wars movie. And you're gonna tell me that the unlimited resources over at Disney can't find a writer to tell a great story? I don't believe that. I think it's an issue of corporate meddling and too many cooks in the kitchen. And until that issue is resolved, all we're gonna get is mediocre Star Wars movies that feel empty and pointless. But yeah, would I recommend this? Not really, but if you're gonna watch it, you've probably already seen it. And if you're not interested, you're probably not gonna watch it anyway. So yeah, I'm probably not gonna sway any minds with this one, but do whatever you feel is right. Maybe skip it, maybe don't. After all, I'm not your dad. But hey, what are your thoughts on this? Have you seen it? Did you like it? Let me know. And if you enjoyed the video, maybe give it a thumbs up or sub to the channel, because that would be fantastic. And if you'd like, you can also support me on Patreon or PayPal through the links in the description. And as always, I appreciate you and thanks for watching.